Well, it's a little surprised that I'm already halfway, well, not halfway, but a couple turns into the game. I forgot to press record, and now I'm doing the commentary after the fact. JMats, GenerationD20.com should really stop by and, help us get those hits so that eventually when we actually have viewers we can make money. In the meantime, we'll just continue to make semi-competent videos and hopefully entertain you. So yeah, the opening hand wasn't the most powerful, and I'm actually okay with that. Like, get that counterspell out of the hand because next turn comes a Sarah Angel, and hopefully shortly after that comes a Aegis. Is he Aegist? Don't know if WotC would really promote ageism, but hopefully he's coming aboard pretty soon. And right now, it seems kind of a waste to use like an Oblivion Ring on a bear. You might actually have something that can contend in the skies, like that card. And unless I get a land, I guess I'd go Griffin Rider and Oblivion Ring, but since I did get the land, might as well just make the guy indestructible and have at it. Especially since he has no mana up for countering. And for a deck that did nothing on turn 1, 2, and 3, that's a pretty good turn 4, 5, 6. And really, looking at his, he's not bad. I mean, he's in bad shape against what I'm doing, but in a general sense, that's pretty good. I'd be happy if I started out and got, Avon and Chasm Drake. But I want to be able to... Oh, and he quit. Which is, nice for me. It was so quick, I don't think I gave it any real consideration. I must have looked at that Demystify saying, well, he had a hexproof guy, so who knows, maybe danger lurks. But I wasn't that concerned. This could either be a great hand or a terrible hand, but having rolled over him so quickly, turn 1, I'm a little bit more risky or not turn 1, well, kind of turn 1, but in game 1, I'm a little bit more risky in game 2. I'm willing to keep something that could turn into something good, and if I get any Griffin, it could get ugly quick. Interesting will be my play next turn. And I don't know what he does, but will I put out the veteran to start getting the beats on? Will I put out the other Griffin Rider with some wild idea in my head that I'm going to end up having multiple 4/4s? Offered the trade for the Sacred Wolf. And the Sacred Wolf does kind of change things a little bit. Because if it's on the board, then the veteran or whatever will just end up trading with him. So not as much incentive to put him out. But I do it anyway. I guess the other thing about it is knowing that if he has Sacred Wolf, and if he has the other hexproof guy, he might have Trollhide. So if he puts the Trollhide on, I can still attack in with my Benelish veteran, and he can't block because he wouldn't have the regeneration mana up this turn. And yeah, I say swing away. Because really, in the scheme of creatures in this deck, Benelish Veteran is like, I don't know, crap that I'm scraping off the bottom of the lake or something. It is not the key to the deck, so And Sacred Wolf very well might be a key to his deck. It's definitely an archetype. It's kind of like in Rise of Eldrazi when people would, well, by people I mean me, try to go for the Orinarlid decks. If someone just, killed Orinarlid, then they were pretty much screwed. Then they had a bunch of enchantments that didn't really help that much for anyone else. And stuck on 4 land. It's always relevant to look at what's happening to your opponent so you don't get too big of a head on how great your deck is. Because if they're mana screwed, or if they're mana flooded, or if they're making really sloppy plays, it can be that, you against many other players you would have lost. And for me, I would rather win than have them lose. And I know that sounds a little bit stupid because you're like, well, if you win, they lose. But it's which begets which. And if your play and your winning ways force them to lose, that's one thing. If their losing plays force you to win, then that means, you've learned nothing. And if anything, this whole draft diary experience is about improvement. And to improve, I really need to, face challenges and as I've said before, also you learn a lot more from a loss and from a mistake than you do from a turn 5 overrun kill where your opponent, just never had a chance. It is kind of a funny game to watch as those 2 griffins swing in for 2 points of damage a turn. Here I think there could have been, well, knowing that there is not a flash creature in the set, I guess that was not really a danger, and he had no burn. But there could have been something to be said for playing the Angel before attacking and giving indestructibility to something. As it was going to get countered regardless, so it didn't really matter. I also considered attacking throughout this game with the Lawkeeper, but I kept thinking, would I rather get in 1 damage now or tap his guy so I can get in 2 damage next turn? And that's what kind of held me back. Now, as it was, at this point I think he'd be at like 9 life, maybe 8 life, if I had been just attacking with the Lawkeeper in each turn. And of course, another Plains. Nice top deck. What can I say? I have all the luck. And so those guys swing in, and he is it's a weird game to watch because he's stuck at 4 for a very long time, has tons of counter magic, and an overcost, 2 overcosted 1/1s are, slowly breaking his spirit. And, Stave Off, I really do like a lot, especially in the late game here, because often those last few combats, or, at a point later in the game, when they think, ooh, here comes the removal, and that's going to be where it swings in my favor, like, I'm going to burn your Griffin Sentinel, and now your Griffin Rider's going to turn to a 1/1, and you can say, not this time. That can just be backbreaking. It also leads to a lot of rage quits. I would say preventing their removal is more likely to lead to a rage quit than just removal yourself. Normally when I Doom Blade someone, I might get a Luxac or something like that, but I probably don't get someone just up and quitting. And that's a nice place to be with this Air Angel. I have enough mana up for the Lawkeeper and for the Stave Off. And I'm kind of at this point just trying to bluff with the land. I don't know. I know that in my deck the most expensive card is already in the graveyard. And so anything I draw next turn I will be able to cast and do my other two things. Now, it wasn't destroying, but tempo-wise I thought that was kind of a good place to play the Stave Off. Because getting in for 4, it just seemed like if I let him continue to play forever, then he's going to do it. And what ended up happening is it draws out a Mana Leak. And so after all of that, he ended up with a 2/2 guy who will just get tapped down every turn and an unsummon. And then here with the Spirit Mantle, probably lay out the land because now I'm going to need it for Lawkeeper. Now the bluff doesn't really do its job, as well as just, you know, actually having the mana. And now, I mean, if I had had that before, the Aether I couldn't have done that, but still very susceptible to unsummon, Plummet, Stinger Flings, Spider, but instead we get a Scoop. And there, finally, the next blue card was the Griffin, so I was about ready to have the deck really go off, and didn't quite get there. Anyway, mono white for the win. I'll see all of you guys in round 2.